Hey everybody, MorbTron here. By now I'm sure most of you know that Bungie has announced they are having to delay the release of Beyond Light. Now this video is not going to be berating Bungie, I'm not angry at them, but it's also not going to be praising them as well. I'm going to give you some pros and some cons to this delay, and at the end of the video, my thoughts. Now, they have not given us a specific reason for the delay yet. It could be next-gen console related. Maybe they found out they can just absolutely crank the graphical settings on consoles to 11 now, and they have to retool to do that, or redo something to do that, but I really doubt it, because I'm guessing they've had their hands on the hardware that's going to be in the next-gen consoles for a while. I'm guessing it has to do more with the vaulting of content that is causing issues that they're having to work through. Back when we went from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2, the franchise so far being on a 3-year cycle, Destiny 1 was 3 years long, that ended, we started Destiny 2, completely new game, right? Now this Destiny 2 Beyond Light, if it was following that same model, it would be Destiny 3. We'd be starting out with a fully brand new game, but we're not. We're still in Destiny 2, and we're vaulting content that's older content that needs to be reworked in order to keep the game smaller and kind of make more room so the game isn't so just absolutely huge on our hard drives. But issues are going to come from that. If we look back to even Forsaken, when they added in Izanagi's Burden, kind of about halfway through that year, that questline to get that exotic item completely broke at the beginning of Shadowkeep, and it took Bungie months to fix that one exotic questline completely to have it work again the way that it was intended. So take away half of a game's content, some old raids, some old destinations, you're going to have issues with coding. You're going to have a lot of bugs and issues to work through, and I think that's probably what's causing their issue. They haven't had to deal with anything like, they have not had to deal with anything like that before in their 3-year cycle, because, like I said last time, they went from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2, they had a completely clean slate and started from scratch. So, I'm guessing that's the cause of the issues. So, going into the pros and cons, starting with the pros. There is a big issue in the games industry currently. It's starting to get more attention, some more coverage, especially with other games and other developers. What Bungie is actively fighting it, and that's called crunch. And crunch in the games industry is where a game is given a release date, generally by its publisher, and the developers of the game have to meet that date. So, as it gets closer and closer to that date, if they aren't going to make it, they need to work sometimes much longer hours in order to try to meet that deadline. Sometimes not even fully completing a game and having to release it in a more broken or uncompleted state because of it. And sometimes these developers are working 12, 14, 16, 18-hour days, sometimes even sleeping at the office in order to try to complete their game on time. Not only is that just terrible for a person's personal life and their family, it's also terrible for the game. You can only imagine that having to work, basically a double shift over and over again, day in and day out, it's going to affect your productivity, it's going to affect the final product, just hands down. Nobody can work that many hours, week in, week out, day out, and not have it affect whatever they're working on. So the fact that Bungie has been kind of at the spearhead of trying to fight crunch in the games industry is nice. It is good. I'm glad that the people that work at Bungie don't have to deal with crunch as much as they have in the past. I'm sure there is still a little bit of crunch because it's hard to just stop doing something that an industry has been used to doing for a long time, but there will be growing pains with that, or pains with change. They have to adjust their time schedules and work in needing extra time in order to get stuff done. So that's the big pro right there. Another big one is hopefully they will have more time to playtest, to work out any big major bugs or exploits You know, it'd be really unfortunate to go into Beyond Light only to have some of our favorite exotic weapons and armor disabled because they're broken and buffs don't fall off and they stack weird unintentionally and break the game. It's unfortunate. You know, Telesto's been there. There's been a couple armor pieces for Titans and Warlocks as well that have done the same thing and gotten disabled for weeks on end. So, it's... hopefully that won't happen. And another kind of smaller thing is that it gives Destiny 2's new light players, just new players in general, since the game went free to play back when Shadowkeep was released, more time to experience older content before it gets vaulted and taken away. Like older raids, things like that. They get their hands on older exotics that might not be in the limelight right now, that sort of thing. So that's definitely good, giving our new light players that are newer to our game and community more time to experience all of what we have to offer now, or what Bungie has to offer, before we go on to the next adventure in the Destiny universe. But the cons. Bungie did say that they are going to be giving us additional content because Season 12, Beyond Light, is being pushed back. But that additional content they're talking about is Festival of the Lost, which would have been during that exact same time anyway. It's a Halloween event. It was scheduled to happen from between October 6th to November 3rd, no matter what, because it's the Halloween event. It always happens around Halloween. So calling that additional content to Season 11 isn't really fair. That was on the table anyway. Just changing what season it's going to be in because of the delay. And they also extended Moments of Triumph to last towards the end of the season again, until November 10th, which is again not really adding content, you're just extending a current event that we have until the end of the season. And also, why extend Moments of Triumph but not Solstice of Heroes, which is still only happening from August 11th to September 8th? The two events kind of go hand in hand. I don't know why they wouldn't extend both, but oh well. Now, Shadowkeep was only pushed back a couple weeks as well, and if you remember back to those couple weeks, the game was basically dead in the water with nothing to do. Imagine that for 7 weeks and what that will do to the game population. We can only keep farming older content. And when I'm talking about I'm talking about the more veteran seasoned players. I'm not going to spend 7 weeks farming old raids. I can barely get a raid team together now to do them. Imagine, 2 weeks in to that 7-week extension. Nobody's going to want to do them. So, this next one is kind of both a pro and a con. Beyond Light getting pushed back 7 weeks allows us to enjoy other hobbies or games in the fall. I know personally for me, up here in Minnesota, September is kind of like the last hurrah of summer, and the last bit of guaranteed good weather before the uncertainty of when winter will hit, and it'll get too cold for me personally to really enjoy being outside. So, hooray, I guess I get to spend more time outside, even though, most of our outside activities have been postponed for other reasons, but we also have other video games. Now, I don't have anything on my radar. Now, last year I had Borderlands that came out. I enjoyed that for a few weeks and then hopped into Shadowkeep. I don't really have anything on my radar right now that's coming out during that window, but maybe I'll revisit old games that I enjoy playing. And that's, well, like I said, that's kind of both a pro and a con. We get time to do other stuff, but we all know we just really want new Destiny content. Bottom line. So, my thoughts on all of it as a whole. It's interesting to see how the community has reacted to this delay. I'm seeing people on both sides, one side blindingly praising Bungie for the words, they're difficult sometimes, for the delay, and I'm also seeing people raging over it and condemning Bungie as well. The only truly bad thing that I have to say about the delay is that Bungie really should have seen this coming and handled it way differently. Now, I know I'm saying this as, the Monday morning quarterback here, but on June 9th, they announced the release date of September 22nd. With how games are developed, they should have seen this delay coming, especially if it was such a big delay that they need an extra 7 weeks to fix it. It should have been extremely obvious from a development standpoint that there was trouble brewing, and they will need more time. I could see a week or two, kind of some big thing popped up out of nowhere. Need a couple weeks to fix it, but not almost 2 months. Really, what I think they should have done is if they would have seen, they obviously saw this coming, when they did that reveal stream on June 9th, they should have just said, here, this is what we have, this is Beyond Light, here's this cool trailer, here's some information, new Darkness subclass, yay, it's fantastic, but we don't have a release date for it yet because of COVID-19 causing us to all work from home, which is causing additional stresses in the workplace, and also home life is weird because of it. You know, maybe they didn't think that the quarantine would last as long as it could. That could be the reason, or a big reason. But I don't know. 7 weeks?
Feels
and
bad.
getting pushed back a couple weeks like Shadowkeep, not a big deal. Nearly 2 months, that's a big deal. Also, again, Bungie really needs to communicate with their community better. They need to give us more insight as to, you know, what is going on at this point with a 7-week delay. If they aren't going to give us the expansion as promised, they need to start giving us more info as to what we're getting, if only to keep us interested and keep us hyped, because a 7-week delay, that's a lot of rain on our parade, I gotta say. It doesn't feel good. But that is the end of this video. So let me know what you think in the comment section down below. What is your take on this whole thing? Did this video change your mind? Did this video kind of enlighten you with the pros and cons? That sort of thing? Let me know. If you liked it, if you want to show your support for my channel, hit the like button. Yeah, that's all I got today, folks. Do not forget to have a good day, everybody. And I will catch you all next time.